I've been married to my husband for 25 years, which is hard to believe. And I would say that most of those years were filled with just a lot of misunderstandings. He would want to go out and, say, party at a bar, and he would want me to wear clothes that were like, bright red shoes, or this was back in the 80s largely. He wanted me to have fun with my outfits, and of course I dressed to blend in more. So he never understood why I wouldn't let him buy me a pair of 5-inch red heels to go out partying. He also, I would force myself to do things for his sake. I knew there was something not normal with me about not wanting to go out. I thought it was a matter of shyness, introversion, and just the way I was raised. I think I was raised by wolves. My brothers and sisters agree. And so I thought it was a product of a whole bunch of things like that. I didn't know it was a condition that had a name that could be treated. So when my husband, for example, wanted to go out, I knew that we should go out. This was a healthy thing to do. So I would just try to make the best of it. But getting ready for any event, I would start to spiral down. And then when we would go out I'm from Fort Lauderdale, so we would go out to a Fort Lauderdale bar. It's filled with a lot of boisterous people. I would just start to melt away, and he didn't understand what was happening. Or when I would get tense in a restaurant eating, feel like everybody's judging the way I'm eating or what I'm eating. He just didn't understand that kind of behavior because he's very, confident. So he said that he would let it go for a while, but that this would build up in him, thinking he had done something wrong. And then at some point he would just, I might set him off in some way, he would just snap over some little thing out of nowhere. And we have just lately discovered this cycle that was happening. We didn't know it was a cycle. So he felt that nothing he could do would make me happy, when in fact it had nothing to do with him at all. And I didn't understand why he would get so mad about incidents that in my mind had absolutely nothing to do with him. And he was taking it personally because he can only see how I'm reacting and what I look like when I spiral down or go into a mood, as he would call it. And I would think, why is he getting on me personally? I have no argument with him, but that would turn into an argument. My husband and I we were in the middle of marriage counseling for the first time. And the counselor kept telling me that she thought I had some kind of generalized anxiety disorder. And I had heard about social anxiety on one commercial years ago that was saying that there was basically pills for shyness or something. And I wasn't interested in pills, so I didn't even research or look at it. And when I went home and looked at generalized anxiety disorder, I thought, this doesn't sound like me. I don't lay around, or I don't sit around worrying about every little thing. I don't get panic disorders. But Dr. Richards described the different disorders, so when I went to social anxiety disorder next and read about it. I actually went into the counselor and told her that's what I had. I thought I had. It was almost a self-diagnosis. And she just kind of glossed over it and seemed a little maybe skeptical. But I think what she was seeing was me being nervous in her office, but I was nervous of the new situation in her. And so I was just, I was nervous because I was out in the world. I was marital counseling. I was having to say things, out loud that I had never said, to and about my husband. So she was seeing all that, and it still amazes me that she could not diagnose it. I would think by now and then when I went in and told her about it, you'd think that she would maybe, towards the end, I finally got, she finally said, and I remember she pointed at my face and she says, I remember now, I made a comment and she pointed at me and she says, "That's social anxiety." And I was thinking, this is what I've been saying. So she kind of gave me a little more impetus to go home and look at the material online a little more. And so right about towards the end, that's when I ordered the tape series. So everything sort of integrated together. And my husband and I had to figure out, wow, a lot of what we were going through was a cycle of social anxiety. And even though the therapist was able to help us in many ways, she was not able to identify that as being possibly one of the largest underlying causes of our problems. I think my daughter was probably affected. I tried to do things. I was room mother a couple of times. I would go on field trips. But it was very hard for me to talk to the other mothers because they were all talking about, they were just normal. They weren't shy, and I always felt like an outsider or different. So I was forcing myself to do these things for my daughter's sake, which I believe in the long run probably had a helpful effect on me, because I was probably doing a little of my own therapy in certain ways. When the event was not too big, I found out that I didn't die from doing it. But I was always uncomfortable doing those things, so it would have been nice being able to just do them like a quote-unquote normal person. Just walk out the door, go to the activity, do it, have fun, talk to people, and go home and not think another thing about it.